See what we have the health department or the health public health experts knock Biden on Title 42. We see 70 public health experts sent a letter to creepy Joe Biden on Wednesday knocking his administration use of expanding of Title 42, Trump's era policy that quickly expelled foreign nationals at the border under the pandemic conditions. As we see, you know what I'm saying? But we see where here we have a signatory echoed many immigrants advocates in arguing that the administration is leveraging the policy, which is intended to thwart public health threats for public purpose, amid record levels of migrants encountered at the U.S. border, in the manipulating and misusing public health to advance immigration control objectives. The creepy Joe Biden administration, you know what I'm saying, is inflicting a grave injustice, not just on individuals and families who are being detained, their right to seek asylum, but also on the border and long term interest in public health. The public health experts wrote the signatories the signatories includes experts that experts at leading public health schools and hospitals, including Josh Shore, whatever Steen, and Food and Drug Administration principal deputy commissioner in the creepy Joe Obama administration, another same demon Democrat bullshit. Former the president of the United States, Trump, just implemented the policy on the onset of the pandemic, allowing U.S. border officers to expel unauthorized migrants and asylum seekers as cases rapidly rose. Well, of course, because the creepy Joe Biden promoted this. When you look at it, how can this all be when he was preaching open border policy? You have 100 days to get to the border if you're escaping coyotes and cartels. So you tell me what was going to happen when they was preaching this message over in Mexico itself on loudspeakers, on the radio. They were blowing it up. They were running the campaign hard and off the card over there in Mexico. What do you think the people was going to do when many of their other relatives have made it over the border and now doing very successful in America? You don't think the rest of them wants to do that too? But Creep Joe Biden Era Center for Disease and Control Prevention, the CDC, in April of this year announced it would end Title 42 use as a pandemic lockdown subside. But the group of GOP-led states won the initial court victory the next month that prevents the creep Joe Biden from ending the policy. Now, why would you want them to end Trump's Title 42 policy is beyond me, and asking creep Joe Biden to do it. Now, the other part of it is creep Joe Biden should do it because, you know why? Because he's the one who was preaching open border policy. So obviously he didn't care about our borders at all. But this is a president that you pushed into office, but knew about every war in Ukraine and every territory in Ukraine and so forth. Now, but when it comes to our borders, he talking about open border policy. You tell me. You tell me. Mark Zuckerberg bankrolled Soros back group that may have illegally failed to disclose lobbying. No, they ain't failed to disclose. They weren't going to do that anyway. Anytime you see he was shutting down and still shutting down comments and views of people on YouTube and many different channels and so forth, when they up here talking and dropping some lines. You know what I'm saying? No, he did not. He was lobbying for the Demon Democrats, and that's a fact. But when we look at the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, a group funded by Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chang. Why did I know his wife would be a Chang? Anyway, but delivery de- delivered hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants to George Soros backed non-for-profit group. Listen to this. The non-for-profit group, but he up in our government, like as if he's the president of the United States on every commercial and everything, talking stupidness every time he turn around. But he funds, we now know that Mark Zuckerberg was involved with Soros, so that makes a beautiful connection there that we needed to know, you know what I'm saying, into a non-for-profit group. How is the George Soros a non-for-profit when he says he's a philanthropist and he up in our government telling people to snatch and grab and all kinds of Black Lives Matter he funded and so forth. But he, you know, saying non-for-profit group that may have illegally failed to disclose its lobbying activities. At least Americas, Eleazar Americas, a 501c3 pro-immigration non-for-profit group received 440,000 combined in 2019. Wow, in 2020 from CZI, including in one case money related to an issue Eliason or whatever appears to have lobbied Congress about during that same time period, according to the CZI grant database and tax record reviewed by the Washington Examiner. The revelations comes as a legal National Legal and Policy Center, a conservative watchdog group, alleged in October 26 complained to the IRS that the agency should investigate whether Eleazar, whatever his name is, violated federal law when it claimed in its 2019 and 2020 tax report that it didn't lobby despite Eleazar disclosing extensive lobbying activities in these same documents. Yeah, Facebook. Oh yeah, they was all up Biden cocoa hole, doing everything he wanted them to do. You know what I'm saying? When we look at it. And now we see a judge said that the judge say a group of uh, of untreated New York public employees can return to work, get back pay, and get back pay. Can return to work and get back pay. Trump supporting Florida man convicted of shooting a jet skier overriding with a Biden flag, which I don't believe in, is alleged. And if it is, he wasn't a Trumper. He was working for the Demon Democrats. I could bet any money. IOPC investigating 9 armed police officers accused of racist and discriminatory conversation. Imagine that. Law enforcement. Oh yeah. But remember, law enforcement are people too. So we have to look at that. Trump sues New York AG Letitia James in Florida claim tax fraud lawsuits violates his private and accuse her of intimidation. Imagine that. I wouldn't doubt that any other way. Friday briefing, a grim reality of what happens to immigrants after leaving the detention center. Uh-huh. Good morning. Yesterday afternoon, we see a visit of the Manston Asylum Processing Center. The Home Secretary arrived from Dover, about 20 miles away from Chinook the Chinook helicopter. She didn't speak to the media, instead issuing a statement saying she was incredibly proud of of the skills and the dedication shown to tackle this challenging situation. Yeah, I can imagine. But the challenging shows no sign of going away. You know what I'm saying? As more than 1,000 people have been removed from the overcrowded centers. Oh, yeah, that creepy Joe Biden, them overcrowded. So we don't not going down that story. Well, we see another one coming in now, as we see.